Hello everyone, and welcome to your January 2019 forecast. This is probably one of the most interesting months in which I can do a reading because to me it's a portal. If you look back in old mythology, the god Janus had two heads and represented looking at the past and looking forward at the present and the future. And really that's what this month provides, is a portal, a doorway, sort of this connective thread between two different points in time. And it gives us a chance to really let go of old things that we need to release in our past. And if we do that, we can kind of look at the new things that want to come through. So it's making space, basically, is what January really is. And I don't know about you, but some of the most interesting and, for me, pivotal moments in my life have often happened during a January. Ends and beginnings of jobs, meeting pivotal people that have had an impact in my life. And so I really love this month, actually. So it's a chance to start clean and a nice new slate for the new year. And in the spirit of that, that's really what prompted me to try something new as far as formats go for the monthly readings. It was that, coupled with the fact that as I was doing January forecasts, they were edging towards 45 minutes apiece. And I actually completed 3 or 4 of them, and it was overwhelming. Too much work, too much information, and I realized it was time to really try to take a different approach. And this will allow me to show up a little bit more frequently in your feed, and this is the positive side. By consolidating messages into one video, I can start to get them to you sooner, which I know has been a frequent request and criticism, so I'm going to try to do that now. And also, I can do more types of videos in the Intuitive Development series. I can answer more questions, and I can show up more often doing live feeds. And I think all of these things are very positive movements for me and for you. And also, just from an energy perspective, all of these are free. It was starting to tap me out because the production time for each of the videos that you were watching was like 4 to 5 hours, so I could only do maybe 1 or 2 a day. And so I would have to pull out 12 days. And that's why I couldn't get them out as quickly as some of the other readers here. I was putting a lot of time into them. So this way I can do more of an overview. You can reach out to me if you want a reading, and then I can also give you more types of intuitive development. So you can continue to grow as a light worker, as an intuitive, and I think all in all, this is a win-win. So with that being said, let's segue into January, and we're going to do a nice deep dive. It's really close to the old format that I used to use for the weeklies, and I think you're going to like it. One more quick note, I will include time codes that will map out all the different parts of the video, so feel free to look at that below, and after we get through the channeled information, the general forecast, if you want to jump to your sign, you can do that. So let's look now at the channeled information. This month, as I was tuning in to all of the energy that's coming through, and that's really what this forecast is starting to be, is an energy forecast for the month that we can all utilize. I saw an untethering or freeing energy this month, almost as if you were to take shackles and just break them. And it's like that superpower that we have within us, but we don't always realize that we have. So part of this will be just that, really embracing who we are, embracing our voice, embracing our power, and opening up the heart space, because that's how I saw the unshackling happen. So when you work and when you speak from a heart center, it's really difficult for people to not understand and resonate with the truth and the honesty that you're putting out there. This is going to be that key that will unshackle whatever chains you've created for yourself in the past. So this month, speak your truth, speak from the heart, hold yourself in a way where you're really showing that you trust what you're saying, who you are, and know that people are going to start to see a change within. And that's what happens. The change starts here, then it's noticeable around you. Your aura starts to shift. So this is a month of liberation, of freedom, of unshackling, of taking your heart, opening it up, and breaking those chains. And that was what I saw in the meditation. So I hope that resonates for you, and I hope that you have the courage this month to go after what you want, what your heart is telling you, your heart's desires, your heart's wishes. And I wish everybody actually to do that too. I think that will be a great way to start this new year and to start to heal the world if we could start thinking and working from our heart spaces. All right? Let's go ahead now and see what the cards have to say about the month of January. And as I said, after this, we'll expand the forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and then we'll get to some sign-specific information, which I know everybody showed up for. So let me pull the camera down now, and let's see what's going on. In addition to this, I also like to pull a catalyst card. The catalyst card is a way to connect with the energy of everything that we see, maximizing all of the positive opportunities, trying to neutralize any challenges that might be coming through. All right, so your catalyst card for this month is, we have Sea Serpent. Let's go ahead and turn the camera up, take a look at all of these cards one by one. And the Sea Serpent card is one of power. Whenever I see any sort of snake figure in any of the cards, it's showing that power, and notice that this one is kind of coiled up. And what I was talking about with the heart space this month was to open and to unshackle and to unfurl. And so what I see here is that ability to start to own the power that you have. And I'm looking at what looks also like a full moon or a moon cycle of some sort at the top. So you could almost ascribe 1 month to this process too, giving yourself time, 3 or 4 weeks to really work through this, to start to deal with whatever fears and anxieties you might also have. Because when I think of the moon, I also think of the moon card in tarot, which is digging deep, trying to let go of any sort of the emotional baggage that you might be holding on to. And it's usually the emotional component that is what hinders your ability to really sit in your seat of power. And so hopefully this month you can find a way to deal with that. And this can also indicate strong water energy coming through to help you this month, possibly to challenge you too, because this is showing both sides of that coin. So be aware of emotions and the power of emotions, and knowing that passion can be your best friend when you're engaging people in something exciting. It can also be your biggest opponent when you're sometimes letting your emotions get in the way of being an active listener, allowing for change to happen, really being open to all of the opportunities in front of you. So a little bit of both with that card, but hopefully it helps illuminate what makes sense for you. We have the Page of Cups here at the center. So as we're looking at the central energy of January energetically, it's challenging us to overcome fears, frustrations, sadness, those lower frequency energies that pull us down. Again, once you neutralize those, then your power comes out, then you're actually able to accomplish everything that you need to. But I want to acknowledge some of us do struggle with just difficulty in managing emotions. So if you are dealing with depression or any sort of long-term emotional challenges, this month might be a month where you have to really work at being your best, your healthiest, taking care of yourself. This is also a month where you want to be open to receiving love, nurturing, care, asking for that assistance when you need it as well. The biggest sign of power is knowing when you need help and being able to ask for that. And I think this card is encouraging all of us to say, hey, I could use some assistance, or I need a little bit of time to recover and take care of myself. So take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of your spirit this month. That's the most important thing, and that's why it's showing up at the center of the cards. Right on top of the Page of Cups card is the Three of Wands. Three of Wands is an acknowledgement that whatever you're seeking out in your life, there is a very good indicator here that you're on the right track and that it's coming towards you. And this is a card of bringing something into fruition. It's interesting that, the traditional card, you'll see someone with 3 wands around them, but they're looking out at the horizon. The wands typically have growth on them. It's like tree limbs growing. A lot of times you'll see 3 young trees. A person looking at the horizon, boats are coming towards them, showing that their dream, their ambition, their desire is within reach. This one is showing that it's even a little closer than you might imagine. And leaning on a close friend, family member, loved one it might be something that is integral and important to the success of this dream that you have, this thing that is in your mind's eye. And so I really want you to not only, like the character in the Rider-Waite version, look out at the horizon, but much like this revised card here, make sure that you're looking at the closest sort of proximity around you, your friends, your loved ones, and also for those of you that are just really intent on getting something done right now, this is saying that you need to just to kind of take stock of where you're at in the process and know that you're closer than you think. Because sometimes we get frustrated with the momentum, wondering why is it taking so long. Trust me, I've been there. I'm an artist when I'm not doing this, and when you're trying to share what you're creating, it sometimes takes longer than people understand, or when it's put out there, they don't understand what you've created. So I get it. Sometimes you think something's done and it's not, but I want you to know that you're closer than you think. The timing is divine, and when you sort of tap into the energy around you, support people, also just looking at everything that you've accomplished, suddenly you're going to find a new momentum, a new sort of sense of, I'm closer than I thought. I can make this happen. It's going to happen. And if you don't feel that yourself, just know what I'm picking up on is it's going to be okay. Just continue with the momentum. Don't give up. That would be sad, and that would not be a good thing based on how positive this card is coming across. The main message I'm looking at past influences when I'm looking at January is this feeling of being overdue, that something has to happen now. We have the Fool card. It was in reverse. The Fool card is about taking a leap of faith, taking a risk, not being afraid of what's on the other side, even if you don't have all the information. Now, because this card is reversed, there is a couple of messages that are coming through. The first is change is imminent. Something is going to shift radically for many of you this month. What you have to embrace is the pros as well as the cons with that. There's going to be some positive things that are coming through because of that shift. There's always something, always a trade-off, but the Fool card for me it's about a beginning, and you can either start something off with a feeling that this is going to be a mess, or you can think, I'm going to just make the best that I can out of this. And you might surprise yourself with how different something can be with that positive aspect at the beginning, thinking, I've got this. I've had worse challenges in my life. I can take care of this. Better yet, think, wow, I've been waiting for something to shift in my life. Now is the time. I am ready, and I'm just going to go for it. Don't even temper it with any of those things like it might be bad or I've had worse or any of that. Just think it's a new day. And it is. Just like I'm reading for you today. This is a new day for you. Why not start it fresh and just think I can handle everything that the universe brings my way, and I'm ready for abundance in all forms. And if that means I have to move or I have to change or I have to try something new, then I'm really ready for that too. And if you look in the corner, you have a butterfly, and it's symbolizing that transformation, that metamorphosis, and it's time to shed the skin. It's time to get out of that chrysalis from last year. And the winter months are very much like that. We go into hibernation. We start to protect ourselves. This particular card, and I know some of you are in a different hemisphere, so forgive me, but I know that this card is really saying that it's time to shift out of it. So this month is like your spring, no matter what season or what part of the world you're in. Break free, blossom, come out of your shell, and embrace everything that's coming through. When you do that, we have the High Priestess here. She is in reverse, but this is ultimately a card of continued transformation and manifestation. Notice that the butterfly here is now manifest in a multitude of butterflies here. And so what I'm seeing is your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions starting to take flight, you having a lot more power and a lot more say in your life than you might have originally thought. And really, the key thing here is to not second guess your power. Now, because this is in the recent past, it can also show for some of you needing to, when we're talking about shedding a skin, letting go of people in your life that might have been pulling you back. Because as much as I love the High Priestess, in reverse, she can often indicate a person around you that could be somehow either pulling you back or manipulating you. I think of Artemis when I think of like a moon goddess. And with this card, that's what I was getting, was the download of someone pulling you. So I think it has to do with the person around you. Could be a strong water sign who is coming into your life and maybe not necessarily wanting you to get as far ahead as quickly as you would like. So don't let someone hold you back just because either they're intimidated, afraid, or unwilling to allow you to blossom, to bloom, to go where you need to. Overall, the energy for this month is capped off by the Ace of Wands. And an Ace card is fantastic because this is showing development of new ideas, new opportunities. For some of you, this can indicate a sort of coming out or an exploration of something that you haven't really allowed yourself to embrace before. So for those of you that are in business, it could be a brand new product or a brand new innovation. For those of you that are retired, this could be deciding to do something brand new with your life, taking on a new service or volunteer job, or deciding to do some sort of an improvement project, either in yourself, in your house, somewhere in your life. But overall, Ace of Wands is very cognitive activity. I always associate wands with thoughts that become manifest, but because it's in the crowning position and because wands are sort of energy that wants to come through, I'm going to encourage you to try to get to the execution stage where you follow through on it. So write that email, pick up the phone, send the text, whatever it is that's holding you back from doing that thing that you want to do, or whoever might have been holding you back in the past, make the new connection and make it happen. Because wands are fire too. So once you do that, once you meet that idea halfway, then it takes form. So good luck on doing that. I think it's going to be something that you really like. Once you start to embrace all of this, we have a beautiful card here in the near future, showing the midpoint of the month, but also showing what is possible this month. And it's the Four of Wands: community, friendship, support, love, and also this ability to cooperate and to also take people that might not always work together and make them see that this something is in their best interest. So diplomacy running really high in January for everybody if you choose to kind of lean on that. New friendships and new people coming into your life, also something you want to embrace and try to develop. And if you've been at a point where you've been wanting to find more love, because the Page of Cups in the center can also just indicate longing. What I see with the Four of Wands is the more you put yourself out there in activities, and I'm not talking about like just going to a bar, I'm talking about getting involved in the community, working with people around you, talking to your neighbors, doing things. The more you kind of get involved with the world around you, the more you're going to meet people. And this is a good month to meet the quote unquote right kind of people that are on the same frequency and are there to support you. And the Four of Wands, there's really nothing negative with that. It's a foundational card. It's a bright light in this forecast for everybody. So get out there. There's people that want to help you this month. All right, when I'm tuning into what many of you are feeling here in the ego of this month and in your own egos, we have the Nine of Cups. The card is reversed, but it's still predominantly a very good card. Let's look at it in its upright position first so that we can talk about that. Typically, you'll see someone that is feeling very, very happy about the abundance. There'll be like 9 cups over them, and usually it's showing someone that is not lacking in food, in drink, and happiness and merriment. And so the card partly is saying, embrace all that is good in your life. Gratitude, in other words. So if you can get in touch with your gratitude, you can flip this card right side up. We're just focusing here on 1 cup because of the way it was illustrated, but this is focusing more on you. What is going on in your life where you're feeling a little bit depleted, a little bit not appreciated, not supported? And check in with that. Is it because of maybe not a good gratitude practice? When I say that, I mean looking at all of the things that you have versus what other people don't have, and realizing I'm actually very sustained and lucky and grateful to be where I'm at. When you start to do that, it's harder to feel like things are ganging up against you. And you start to think, you know what, actually I'm being supported, I just didn't realize it. So there's part of that that's coming through. The other part is not to get disappointed or pushed off your path because of a setback, a limitation, someone in your life who might not see your potential or who may not support you the way that you need to be supported, and therefore it chips away at your self-worth. So I'm here this month to deliver the message that based on the center card and what was crossing it, the Three of Wands, and based on the crowning card, the Ace of Wands, and based on what I'm seeing in the near future, the Four of Wands. Beautiful, supportive, and productive cards. You're going to be okay. And what's important is that you find a way to get out of, I think some of you might be in a sort of hermit phase. And I didn't pull the card, but that's the energy that I'm sort of receiving. So if you can get out of your own sort of cocoon this month and ask for help, get into activities, physical or spiritual, that are moving the energy in your system, you're going to see a shift, and then you're going to start to feel good about things. And that's going to be an attractive force for similarly energetic people. So once you shift into a better space, other people that are kind of attracted to that new energy, and things kick off for you. And I think that's really the key here. We have the Eight of Swords in the environment. It's reversed. And this is really encouraging you to be honest, to be transparent, to ask tough questions. So if somebody, maybe it's a boss, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's just someone in your life is kind of bossing you around and telling you to do something, don't be afraid to ask a question and just constructively saying, have you thought about this? Or why are we doing this? Or could we try it a different way? You want to be, of course, careful not to step on people's toes, but I think that being inquisitive, being curious, and trying to find something else that you can do, a way out, is actually good. Also, with this, transparency in all aspects of your life. Being honest with how you're spending your money, what you're putting into your body as far as nutrition and any other substances. What is the effect? How is this sort of netting out on my body? Is it good? Is it bad? Looking at relationships, being honest with yourself in those. Do you want to be in a relationship? Is someone else in a relationship giving you mixed signals, etc.? The more transparency exists, the less you're going to feel anxious and sort of worried, and the more that you're going to be able to, the more you're going to be able to create new friendships in your life. So focus on that. I think it would be a very positive thing. Now we're looking at hopes and fears for the month, and we have the Six of Swords. So this is a time for movement. It's delayed, and for some of you the delay is a sort of emotional or a mental delay. But we're looking at, for some of you, the change may not even happen until next month, because I feel that resistance. But it's a move. It could be a move away from a relationship. It could be a move quite literally to a new job or to a new location. But overall, the energy of it is supporting you because of the Four of Wands that I saw in the near future. And the outcome is one of evening out. We have Temperance here. So as the month comes to a close, I feel that whatever emotional turmoil you had, that's going to be evened out. And what happens instead is this feeling of empowerment, of understanding everything is cyclical. Everything comes and goes until you've learned what you need to. That's what this whole cycle of life, death, reincarnation is about. So look at your life this month. Look at this. It's almost a portal card. I talked about portals, doors, windows, and that sort of symbology for January. This is also symbolizing sort of your cycle of life and your cycle of coming and going in certain things in your life, like these trends. So I want you to look at January and think, what am I ready to release? What am I ready to embrace? And is there a leap of faith, something that I want to do where I can go through and try something brand new? Because January is really encouraging you to get out of the old frequencies. And I think once you do that, the sky's the limit. And that's really what the Ace of Wands was saying. Okay, let's go ahead now and we're going to expand the forecast. We'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and then we'll get into the sign-specific information. All right, let's take a look now at health. Health is not just your physical self, but also your mind, body, and spirit. Health message this month is completion. Completion is a really interesting card to come through with respect to health. For some of you, you may be dealing with an end of a phase with an illness or an injury, and this can be a very beneficial card. So this is showing recovery. Some of you may be dealing with a family member or loved one that might be finishing their own sort of journey, struggle with health, and it can indicate an expected but nonetheless difficult sort of end of journey. So death, transformation, and for those of you dealing with that, this is a reminder to be gentle with yourselves, be gentle with the people around you, and really just be present. Now, if we look more at how I was talking about January being this nexus between ends and beginnings, then this can be a time when you decide enough now with one part of your life. thinking that I'm tired of this habit or I'm tired of this way of living and I want this instead. So this is in many ways, shapes, and forms sort of like a mourning and a celebration card. Like it can be a wake card too. So the reversal of this is a reminder for you that it's time to face whatever it is that is causing fear, anxiety, or uncertainty in your life. And that kind of goes back to what we were seeing in the environment card here with the Eight of Swords. So I think that to really walk unafraid, to ask the difficult questions, this is going to be integral to your happiness, to your success in the month ahead. And when it comes to health, starting better habits. When it comes to physical health, when it comes to spiritual health, this is the same sort of thing. It's about releasing ties to somebody, deciding that you're going to cut some cords, that you're going to move on, that you're going to approach whatever sort of setbacks you might have experienced with someone as a lesson and embrace that and think, all right, I'm ready now for something better. I'm going to release this pattern. So mind, body, spirit, definitely requiring a little bit of a reset, a little bit of a reboot, and a little bit of a release. Okay? Let's go ahead now and take a look at your wealth card. Wealth is just like this. It's going to be 2 or 3 things. It's how you feel about yourself, what's coming in as far as abundance, and your attitude towards money and resources as well. Let's give the cards a good shuffle and see what wants to come through for wealth, for money, for career. We have Into the Unknown. And Into the Unknown sits nicely with the Fool card, which again was reversed, which is showing this need to embrace and jump into something that, even if you're a little bit afraid of, seems to want to present itself. As we take a closer look at this card, I'm also seeing a tie to the Eight of Swords, because this is about transparency. And you notice the person being blindfolded in this. In a typical Rider-Waite version, you would see the same thing with the figure. And a lot of Swords cards in general, you'll see it with the Two of Swords too. It's about coming to terms with what you need to see in your life. And I mentioned before, this was like the Inquisitor card, and we actually see a little raven here, which is about, listening to things. It's a card that carries information. It's a messenger. And so what I'm seeing here is that it's important for you to just be open to new things when it comes to your money, to be aware of where you're spending, where you're receiving it. And so if you're like a small business owner, you really want to look in your books and make sure that everything is accounted for. If you are just an average person that's kind of like looking at your own budget, there might be something you're missing or something that's unaccounted for. And so this is about going through everything with a fine-tooth comb and making sure that you're bringing things to light. There could also be an opportunity for growth, and that's what this is about too. So, when I was doing the annual forecast this year, I said that the first 4 months of the year would be kind of tricky. It's a time to take it easy. There might be a place where you could find savings, or there may be hidden money opportunities there. So this could be accessing something that you already had but you'd forgotten about. So don't be afraid to do that. This is a great chance for you if you're open to that. So again, Into the Unknown, new chances, new opportunities. There's always risk associated with that, but knowing that when we were looking at your crowning card this month, there was a lot of opportunity associated with that as well. So don't be afraid to try something new. It could be good for you, and it could welcome in something in a great way that's unexpected. And I said earlier when I was looking at the annual forecast, this would be a year where, for some of you, especially if you are like a contractor or a freelancer and are worried about the future, there could be an unexpected way of doing work that could lead to a longer term contract. It's a really important time for you to consider those ways of adding stability and predictability so that you can kind of weather this uneasiness for the next quarter of the year. Let's go ahead now and jump to your love card to see what's coming through for relationships of all sorts this month. So your message this month for love, which can go across all your different relationships, is, let's give it one more shuffle. We have the Hierophant. So when I pulled the card, it was on its side. And for me, the Hierophant card in its upright position is all about structure, organization, predictability, sometimes even bureaucracy. So what we're seeing this month is a little bit of a breakthrough when it comes to that. And for you in relationships, when we look at sort of like partnerships in business and like non-romantic relationships, what this means is you may be able to access or get in touch with someone who you normally couldn't. So if you're looking for a job, or if you're trying to contact some sort of a politician or decision maker or something, and you normally would have to go through several hoops, this month you may find an opening that didn't exist otherwise, either through friends and family or co-workers, because we have the Four of Wands here showing partnerships and the ability to kind of lean on that, or you might just have luck working on your side. So this is a great month to find new ways to get things done with people that you normally couldn't get in touch with. Really, really positive card in that respect. It also is showing a flipping of roles. So for some of you that might be the one that normally makes decisions, you may let someone else make the decisions in your life this month. Or if you're someone who normally expects things to go a certain way, this is also encouraging you to be open to new ways of doing things, because the sort of motto of this card on its side is to expect the unexpected. It's not the reversal of it, it's just showing things aren't going to happen in the normal ways that they would. And so the more open you are, the more flexible you are, and also when we're looking at how you can use this to your advantage, the more sort of observant you are, then you can take advantage of other people's sort of energy being in a different space, and you won't let it throw you off guard either. So just be open. Across the board, relationships are going to feel a little bit different. This also means that if there's anyone in your life that is difficult to talk to, difficult to understand, that sort of obtuse behavior or kind of energy is lessened this month. So you may be able to repair a relationship with someone who you've been estranged with, or you might be able to heal some sort of a scar from an old relationship and find a way to get closer to someone. So I'm seeing a general opening, a crack in the normal predictability of things, and this can be something overall that's beneficial. You just have to kind of learn how to work with the crack. So sometimes you're going to find new openings to get to someone, sometimes you'll find a different way to communicate, and then your own energy is going to possibly be off a little bit, so don't be afraid to ask for help. It's a common theme that I'm seeing this month for everybody. Let's look now at your Destiny card, showing the overall energy for January that all signs can work with. Give the cards a nice shuffle here. So we have gifts from God. The main message in this card is that all things happening this month are divinely either supported or even kind of manifested for you. So if something feels like it's a coincidence, it's probably more of a synchronicity. It's probably more of an eventuality of something that needed to happen, and it's being opened up for you. If you're being pushed or you're feeling like things just aren't working, that's also a message from the divine. You're not always going to get this sort of lightning bolt moment where everything comes as a vision or a clairaudient message. Sometimes what we see is you keep trying something one way and you're hitting your head against a wall and you're wondering, why is that happening? The universe is subtly trying to help you. Or you may be pushed over and you have to kind of like think, wait, why was I stopped in my tracks? Or you might have something happen where it takes 10 times to try something. All of these are signs that you're not failing, that the universe wasn't trying to hurt you. It's sort of more a reset and a reorganization or a reorientation. And so everything this month, including those challenging things, are gifts, are messages. The main thing here is to receive everything with grace and with gratitude. Easier said than done, but this can be part of your meditation practice this month. So when we're in the moment, it's completely normal, I would say healthy even, to work through the human frustrations of whatever comes your way. But in the moments where we meditate, and you should try to be doing like 5 to 10 minutes a day of this, then you can sit and try to get the deeper meaning in things and just be present and see what messages come through. Because the main thing that I'm seeing here is there's a lot of support in your life at the moment. And if we look at the overall spread here, focusing on the highlights here, again, crowning card, Ace of Wands, near future, Four of Wands. The message as we're looking at some of the risk and movement here is Three of Wands. So lots of prosperity within reach. Then we look at sort of environmental pressures and things that could be pulling you back. Nine of Cups, Eight of Swords, and Six of Swords. This is saying it's time to step away from this feeling of not knowing what's going on or not trusting what's going on and maybe not being in a place of gratitude. Once you do this, we have Temperance here, which is showing that everything is going to start to even out. And I love that in this particular deck, we see a lot of movement always in the background. So transformation, movement, momentum, knowing that it's all a gift from a larger source, from something else, it's going to help you with this. So again, with health, letting go of things, creating new things, cutting ties to people that are no longer really serving you, it's going to be key. With wealth, looking and expecting the unexpected, asking deep questions, being sure that you're being honest with yourself. With relationships, knowing that there's going to be new ways of communicating and connecting with people. And overall, all of this is going to help you, even if it's pushing you to kind of take a leap of faith. Because again, we're seeing this common theme of metamorphosis, transformation, stepping out of that chrysalis or that cocoon into something bigger, brighter, and better than what you're in right now. All right, now it is time to look at all of the sign-specific information. As I said earlier, you can use the time codes right below the video and above the comment section to jump directly to your sign or signs. And you can use the sign-specific information for your sun, your rising, and your moon if you happen to have it. You can also look at your loved one's signs as well. Let's go ahead now, and we will begin with Aries. So for you, Aries, there's a lot of movement with money this month. The very first card we see here is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which is showing as a past influence for many of you, as I said earlier, a need to sort of get an understanding on money and where you stand. And again, as we were looking at the environmental card for all the energy this month, we have the Eight of Swords in reverse, that sort of inquisition card, making sure that you know what's going on, that question mark. So for some of you, there's a need to sort of change the tide, change the habits, change some of the sort of cycles that you've been in with your money, and really take ownership over it this month. So don't be afraid to dig a little bit more deeply into things, knowing that the good thing with the Wheel of Fortune is overall it's a card that wants you to progress, much like the World card. It's ends and beginnings, and it's not going to let you be stuck. To me, I would kind of equate it to the feeling of being in a river. You've got to kind of move with the flow, and that's what this card is reminding you to do. The good news is, when I'm looking at the central energy of January, it's really one of starting to stabilize. We have the Eight of Pentacles, which for me is a very great card when we're looking at money, because this is showing me that whatever you're putting into your life, whatever you're trying to do for sustainability, for earnings, is something that you're going to see a return on. You notice this person weathering a storm, and it's interesting because normally Eight of Pentacles is just more of a developmental card, like going to school, getting a training, something that's going to help you in the long term. This is reminding you that right now you've already started to put the work in, and you've probably been through a lot already. This is saying that don't give up. You notice he's kind of putting that final piece to the puzzle here. So what you're working on is your overall security here. So that's what's important. That's what you want to keep an eye on. And as we look at this, there's really an opportunity for you over the next 6 to 8 months to start to see this increase in your productivity. So I'm seeing positive growth, positive momentum. And if we kind of look at the difference between the Wheel of Fortune here and the Eight of Pentacles, the wheel with a 10, the Eight of Pentacles with an 8, some of you might be trying to recover 20 or 30% more, or a loss, or I'm seeing growth in that perspective. So don't give up. Don't worry if there was some sort of a setback, maybe an unexpected payment that you had to put towards a repair in your house or your car, or there was a bill that came in last year and it kind of gave you a little bit of a hiccup financially. I'm seeing eventual recovery here, but it may take you half a year to get back to where you were. Just keep with that. Stay steady, stay strong. The other thing with this is we're looking at the energy of expansion this month, which is also what we were seeing with the Fool card. So this is a chance for you to continue to evolve and transform. Embrace that. What's coming through now, kind of easing you towards February, is the Nine of Cups. It's interesting because we saw the Nine of Cups here in the general spread. It was reversed. In the future spread, as I was saying here when we looked at Temperance, there's an ability for you to kind of take whatever's going on with your general emotions and stabilize them. Bring them into a place where you feel like things are going to be okay again. So I'm encouraging you to do that, to not worry too much, and know that you're trending in a positive direction. Just trust that. Let's move along now and see what is coming through for the sign of Taurus. So as we look at the Five of Wands here for the beginning of the month for you, the message really is to pay attention to everybody in your life and who is pulling their weight. When I saw this, I was seeing like chains linked together. And so if there's something going on, particularly in a team sort of situation, whether it's in your family or in a work sort of sector, this is saying that if someone isn't pulling their weight, this is a time when it's really important to have the team address it. It's not about you. It's not about the boss. I feel like this is sort of a team agreement to have everybody come together. And if there's any place in your life where you're not seeing that reciprocity kind of like coming back to you, then it is a time to step back and not really put as much towards that person. If you're in a team, you obviously do your part, but you don't want to support someone who is not doing what they should. In another sort of context, this card is reminding you that you're doing great work. It's not always easy to see where you're at. If you were to kind of look at this in a different lens, it would be sort of like you were in grass that is overgrown and you're trying to sort of sort things out, but you can't see this way or that way. And this is reminding you to kind of come above whatever the noise around you is so that you can see the bigger picture. Continue the work, don't give up, realize that there's more at play than you can see, and just trust in your hard work. The overarching energy for this month is partnership. And this echoes back to what we saw in the general energy for the month, which was Four of Wands. So if you are single and looking for love, the Lover's card shows that it's a great time to put yourself out there. If you're in a relationship, this shows a deepening and hopefully an improvement of that relationship. And even if you're estranged, I mentioned when I was looking at the general energy for this month that there would be a chance for you to start to heal that, particularly when I was looking at the relationship card, which was showing this sort of crack or opening in people that might otherwise be sort of closed off. So don't be afraid to move forward in relationships with a renewed sense that you're going to be okay, that things can shift, things can change. This card also indicates that if there's anything in your life that you would like to try to have other people gravitate towards, selling a product, selling an idea, negotiating, talking about something that's difficult. The Lover's card shows support or openness from others. Again, hearkening a little bit back to what I was saying, where otherwise rigid or overly structured bureaucratic processes could break down a little bit and open up. Relationships are key. It's who you know. It's not necessarily how good you are or what the product is or what the idea is or what you're trying to move forward. It's all about connections. So the one thing that can help you with your security in the future here, not just this year, but I would say beyond 2019, is to really focus on establishing friendships, relationships, and strategic alliances this month. It's going to pay off in the long run. I see an uptick for money for you this month. We have Queen of Pentacles. This is showing me that you're going to get a handle on money situations. You may even be able to come into a new situation where it's a new revenue flow, a new job, a new idea. At the very least, you're going to understand what you need in order to be more productive and more successful. So confidence at the end of the month with respect to money. This is also a card of maternal energy. So for some of you, if you're looking to start a family, this is also a card of fertility. So it's a great month to try. It's a great month to try to start and embark on that journey, or to adopt if that's something you're looking towards. And the other thing that I see with this is it's a card of hearth and home. So you really want to spend some time making your home, feel like it's comfortable, that it's a place where you want to spend time. So that could be as simple as just changing the furniture around or putting out some new decorations or a fresh coat of paint. We talked about January being a brand new slate. Why not actually make it feel like that? Get rid of some of the old. Before you put the new paint on, maybe clean a little bit too, because we don't want to just cover, we want to clear, and then we want to establish that fresh canvas for something new. Let's move along now and take a look at what's coming through for the sign of Gemini. So this card actually flew out of the deck. I think you saw that. We have the Three of Pentacles, and I always observe whenever, especially I put extra weight when a card flips out of the deck. I love Three of Pentacles. This is showing past influences and what you're doing foundationally for this month. This is showing that whatever you have worked hard towards, this is usually a completion to that. For some of you, this can indicate a graduation. So, maybe you've just graduated in the winter semester, or you're priming up to do that here very, very soon, or completing some sort of a ceremony or a certification. Whatever you're working towards, it looks really, really good with the Three of Pentacles. This is going to open up new partnerships as well. So, irrespective of whatever you might have been working on or accomplished, what this is showing me this month is if you move towards some sort of an opportunity, it's a great time for negotiation. The Three of Pentacles is an advantageous card with respect to any sort of agreement, contract, negotiation, etc., because it puts you in a place of power. Even here, you'll see that the person that is sort of in that place of completion or is trying to move forward is actually above the rest. You'll notice in the typical card, there's someone that's finishing something in an archway and everyone is admiring the work. But a common thread is you're always in a place of being a step above or a step ahead or having the advantage. Take advantage of that advantage this month and trust yourself. So there's going to be, I talked at the beginning about portals. There'll be windows of opportunity that present themselves. Some of them may have already passed, but you're going to see new ones coming through this month. Don't delay. That's the main message that's coming here for you. The central energy of the month is the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is all about friendship, partnership, and people coming in and out of your life. There is an air of impermanence to this card, meaning that sometimes these are very ephemeral or short-term or just sort of event-based relationships, but it could be a person that comes through that changes everything. They may not be the person that sticks, but they're the person that knows the person that's going to change your life. I want you to get out as much as possible. Say yes to any sort of party invitation or networking opportunity, and also work on your own marketing, particularly if you're in business. And even if you're just having a standard job, this is about making sure that your boss and superiors are aware of your contributions. It's your own marketing in your own life. If you're looking for love, this card shows, again, the opportunity and the opening. It's not going to mean that immediately you meet someone and that's the end-all be-all. The Three of Cups is a courtship card. It's dating in a sort of casual sense, so you need to get to know people in your life. If you're in a relationship, the same thing applies for this. This is about making time to have fun. So if you and your partner are workaholics, or one is a workaholic and the other one isn't, whatever, this is about finding that common time so that you can sort of spend energy just relaxing, watching television, reading a book, walking the dog, taking a vacation. This is celebration and frivolity and felicity. You need to make room for that in your life this month because it opens up positivity everywhere. When your heart is open, when you're happy, when you're connected with people and having fun, you attract people that see this sense of openness. So work with your heart energy this month. It's your key to success. It's your magic weapon if you want. It's going to be a good thing. All right. As we look towards the end of the month and also hopes, fears, opportunities, we have the Justice card in reverse. And one thing that this is saying is, I was just kind of really driving home the idea that you need to have fun, you need to make room for love. This card is saying just that. If your work-life balance doesn't exist, you have to find that. That's why you see the scales in Justice. And also, in this particular deck, Justice is one of grounding, and that's why it says the standing stone. When your life is really in a place where everything has its place and you feel grounded, Things just work. When something is kind of taking the center stage and taking you away from your sense of grounding, then you're trying to play a catch-up game the whole month. So say no to things that are distracting. I mentioned that you should try to get out as much as possible. But if there's a friend or if there's a person in your life that distracts you or constantly pulls you into sort of a toxic or negative space, even if that's a social sort of connection, that particular person I think it's okay to step away from. Some of you may dissolve a contract or some sort of an agreement this month. It could be a divorce. It could be quitting a job. It could just be deciding that you're ready to do something else in your life. But I see you diverging from some sort of a path and connecting onto a new one. So really what January is for you is sort of like a turnstile. You're going to move from one place to another, and it's a passageway for you. Don't be afraid to move through it because it's not a stop. It's not an end point. It's, again, sort of a turnstile where you're going to go somewhere else. So I think it's good. I think it may not be a straight path. It might be one where you kind of go on a right angle. But I like where you're headed, particularly with these two initial cards that I saw, showing growth with money, with career, and showing also that a lot of that could happen through your connections. Let's move along now to the sign of Cancer. So Cancer, your first card here is the Two of Swords. The card is reversed, and that for me is a card of empowerment. And you'll notice I have a special deck here where it shows always a figure in the upright position, so that kind of gets rid of people worrying about is it upright or not. And what we see here with the Two of Swords is now, instead of feeling like you don't know where to go, you've made a decision. There's some trade-offs involved, of course, there always is. But what you want to work on now is building momentum. And that's the main message that comes through now. All of the pausing, all of the consideration that you had in sort of building up to the moment now, you can let go of. And don't sit and second guess wherever you're at, whatever place in your life you're at. Sometimes in January, there's a sense of nostalgia, looking back or wondering, could I have changed something? The Two of Swords this month is saying, celebrate the fact that you're either embarking on the decision or have already done it or you're ready to do it. Just move forward with that. No more hesitation. That's the main note there. Then as we look at the central energy of the month, it really supports what I saw in the general energy for this month. We have the Three of Wands. It's in the upright position, showing partnership, showing the ability of being able to take an idea or take a momentum and build it with that sort of group energy that wants to come through. And if you remember here again, Three of Wands was crossing the center, and also we saw the Four of Wands here. So it's the intimate familial relationships that you might have, as well as friends, family, and coworkers around you. So don't be afraid to lean on people. There's a lot to be had this month when it comes to that connective energy that you could get. And also just, again, particularly for your sign, an indication that you're closer than you think to your goal. So try to meditate on the idea of what it is you are manifesting and stay focused in that. When you look at the traditional Three of Swords, it is someone that is looking at the long term. They're not looking right now. They're seeing it before it's happened, and then it's happening because they see it happening. And it's sort of this self-fulfilling positive cycle. And that's really what January wants to present to you if you can embrace it. The end of the month, and sort of as we peek into February, what we're seeing here in opportunities, fears, etc., is Page of Pentacles. The card is reversed. And what I see with this is that there's going to be a chance to invest, a chance to let go of something in your life. You notice this person taking their money, splitting it, or deciding to move it around. So you're going to need to really weigh out your investment decisions this month. That was something that I saw in the annual spread. The first 3 or 4 months of the year, you really want to take your time. And what we see here, even in this illustration, is trying to keep more than you part with. So make sure that whatever it is that you decide to divest or sacrifice or put into something is something that you don't need. It's the fact. And if you don't have the fat, then don't do it. And that's really what this is saying. The other thing is that your overall Page of Pentacles is one of creation. And you notice that whether it's upright or reversed, you always have a say in it and you can always work with it. I want you to sort of look at the big picture and think, all right, here's where I am now. How can I get to the next level? It feeds right back into that positive energy of the Three of Wands. So see yourself empowered. Whatever decisions you have to make, whatever money you have to part with, see that as something that's temporary and move to the next phase in your life. Overall, pretty good. Just don't second guess decisions this month. Once you've made that choice, move forward, focus on what you can control. That's the most important thing this month for you. Let's move along now to the sign of Leo. Let's take a look at what's your past influence for this month. It's a beautiful card, by the way. This is one of, there's normally 78 in tarot, this is 80 in this particular deck, and they have a Divine Masculine and Feminine card, and this is Father Sky, which is a Divine Masculine card. When I look at this, I get a few different thoughts. First of all, it's the energy and the element of air going through it, which is thoughts, possibilities, movement. It's also, to me, very close to, if I were to go back to mythology, because I love Greek and Roman mythology, it reminds me of like Zeus, which is a sky god, someone who can create through lightning, through his own sort of thoughts and actions, things. You have the ability to manifest. I feel like you've had some of these sort of lightning type ideas, but this is the month to bring it forward. I feel like it's been sitting in the ethers. And so whatever you've been trying to create or manifest, this month it needs to come to the planet Earth. So I want you to start to create, to be, to feel it, to believe it. And the reason I'm saying that I think it needs to come into into something more stable is we have the Two of Wands here, it's in reverse, and we see all these sort of somewhat scary characters, which are the fears in our own life. Two of Wands is typically, it's not like the Two of Swords where you can't see it. The Two of Wands is something where someone's holding the earth and looking out at the future as well, and there's two wands around them. So what I want you to do is to get grounded. I talked in my crystals video about grounding stones. You can use something like this, which even reminds me of the earth in the Two of Wands. So I'd like you to ground yourself this month and think about what that idea is. You could even do something like this. Hold your idea, write something down, take a picture, ground yourself, and start to feel it coming into your fiber of being, every fiber of your being, rather, and start to smell it, taste it, feel it, see it, and bring it into your mind's eye. And if you do that, as we look at the future here, we have the Four of Swords in reverse, which is good. This is actually about manifestation. Four of Swords typically shows someone resting, their swords underneath them or around them, and it's about a period of lack of momentum. With the card reversed, it shows me that you need to take action this month. We notice this cute little, looks like some sort of a field mouse or something here, and there's a timid nature to it, which makes sense for Four of Swords because it's a contracting card normally. The reverse of this is to expand, to be active, to not be shy. The reverse of this Two of Wands, which is a fear-based one, as illustrated here, is to, again, hold your idea, think you can manifest it. And as we go back to the overarching catalyst card for all signs, we see the Sea Serpent, which is to not be so coiled up in your energy, to let it go, and to move through that portal that wants to open up for you. Some really great opportunities this month, but the biggest challenge for you, I think, is to move past the cognitive state, the fears, the anxieties, the overthinking it. Don't be too in your head this month, because if you second guess your intuition and your heart, it's going to cause delays, and you don't really want that. I'm not seeing a lot in respect to relationships this month. I think that this is about forward progress and momentum in your life, and to really focus on what it is you want, because I'm seeing a little bit of clouding when I saw that Two of Wands card in your goal. And when we look back at all of the cards for the month of January, once you can narrow in on it, then you progress from the Three of Wands to the Four of Wands. But first you have to honor that you can do it, that you can feel it, that you can see it. If you do that, I think that you're off to a great start this month. Just don't let fear hold you back. Don't be too much in your head, and don't second guess yourself. Now let's move along to the sign of Virgo. So as we look at your past influences this month, what we see here is the Sun, which is great for your ability to really have charisma, to be strong in relationships, particularly when it comes to needing to negotiate or to sort of regain power. So you've already set this up on some levels, but you have to own it. This also seems a little bit passive based on the illustration. So it's important for you to know that, yes, that potential exists, but you have to do something with it. The Sun card is also like a seed or a sort of beginning of something. A lot of times you'll see a child on this particular card, which shows that you need to nurture whatever it is you're trying to create. And that's definitely what we see with Three of Wands here, which is believe in yourself, trust that something's possible, and once you start to feed into that, then it comes into being. As we look at the overarching energy for this month, we have the Princess of Pentacles here, and it's in reverse. So Princess or Page, it's usually about the delivery and the receipt of information, or in this case, goods and services sometimes. And what we're seeing here is that things are slowing up a little bit, or there could be some sort of a block. Noticing that with this, it's actually looking like it's a written component or communication element. So I really want you to check your all forms of communication this month. So if you're texting someone, writing someone, or trying to interpret what they're saying, make sure that there's nothing that's being lost in translation. So getting a second set of eyes and ears on something will be a great idea for you this month. There also could be some delays in respect to the exchange of money this month, because Pentacles for me, it's all about resources in your life, particularly money. So if someone is late or isn't following through on their part of an agreement, this card is indicating that it would be a really good time to have potentially a difficult conversation, but an important one, because reciprocity is key, as we talked about earlier this month. And I think that you really want to focus on balance. When I kind of look at the outcome card energetically for January, it was Temperance. So I think part of getting that temperance is making sure that you're getting what you give and you receive anything owed to you this month. So don't be afraid to stand up, to push someone for their end of their agreement so that they follow through. As we look at hopes, fears, frustrations towards the end of the month, we have the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is in reverse. And what we see here, it's usually the Rider-Waite illustration shows someone holding onto a coin, protecting their heart space. So it can show like a confidence block. It can also show the inability to, again, stand up or request or ask for something. So we have the card reverse, which means that it feels like money and resources, some of you even just time, it's at a shortage this month. And some of it is legitimate. Part of it, though, is the continual thought that this is the state. So you have to sort of change the channel, thinking, I'm moving away from this feeling of trying to catch up. I'm going to cut some things out that I don't need to do, or cut some things out that I don't need in my life, so I'm not spending as much time, energy, love, whatever on those, which opens me then up to be more productive and to receive more. So a better use of your resources overall is the message this month. Not underestimating your power, of course, because as we look back at the general spread for the month, we see that your crowning card was Ace of Wands, ideas, strength, power, vitality, and that your catalyst this month was the Sea Serpent, which was to not underestimate your ability to make something happen. It feels like some of you are in a cycle and you're just ready to kind of pop through that next direction, also with that Fool energy that we were looking at. So there's a need this month to find new ways to spend energy and time, and know that that's ultimately going to free you up. When we're looking at relationships with the Princess of Pentacles in reverse, there may be someone that's needing a lot from you this month. If it's someone who you're happy to give that energy to, that's fine, particularly someone, a lot of times, either a princess or a queen of pentacles can be a mother or a maternal energy in your life. If that's someone that you want to give the energy to, that's fine. But if it's someone that's just taking without giving, again, when it comes to relationships, just like business, it's important to put up healthy limits. Let's go ahead now and move to the sign of Libra. So Libra, as we're looking at your past influences this month, it feels like the end of December, moving into the very first week of January, may have been one where you were forced to make difficult decisions. Sometimes with the Two of Swords, there's really not a clear cut outcome for winning, quote unquote. And so what that means is we have to move forward looking at what feels best and based on all of the data in front of us. So my advice to you is, if you're still in that sense of feeling unsure, paralyzed, or self-doubt, whatever's happening right now, that the important thing is to make a decision. I feel like you already have exactly what you need, and your ideas are stronger than you think, because we have the Ace of Wands in the crowning position on the general spread, that you're actually going to feel okay. Things will even out, even if there's a little bit of uncertainty this month, because the overarching energy right at that center was crossed by the Three of Wands. So a lot of positivity, a lot of partnerships opening up. But what's necessary this month for you, more than any sign, is change. We have an upright tower, which shows that hopefully most of you have already started to embark upon this metamorphosis, this change. And it's a good thing, because when I'm looking at the future for you, we have Eon here, which is bringing you right to the end of your journey. But you have to make that decision to embrace it. Once you do, everything opens up. But the decision part is what's key with Eon here. And I really like this because it's showing going beyond who you are at the moment. It's a reinvention. And I keep mentioning sort of metamorphosis and chrysalis because your sign probably has it the most. You're going to walk through something, and if I could sum up what the month is for you, it's reinvention, reimagination, reinterpretation. It's really you coming through a rut or coming through a period where you felt like you were stuck and just simply thinking, all right, I'm going to change it. I'm going to do something different. And so relationships may end, jobs may end, but in the same sort of line, new things can come in. You could meet someone new that really helps change and shift and mold your perspective on your possibilities in your life in a way that you hadn't imagined. It's also going to help you find more stability. Because the one thing that I see with the Tower card is it's a enriching and an improvement on foundations. Why does the Tower crumble? Because what you built it on wasn't sustainable. So if it was a relationship, maybe the two of you had different expectations for one another, or what a relationship would be. If it's a work situation, maybe you were giving too much or too little, or the overall, if you're working at a company, things just needed to shift and the universe wanted to push you out. There is a stubbornness that sometimes happens when the Tower card makes its appearance. So it comes through so you can be better, so that you can do better in your life. And so with this, I want you to try to embrace the change that is presenting itself to you, even if the manner in which it kind of manifested was surprising. Ultimately, this will allow for an improvement on your mental, physical, financial health overall. So whatever move or shift has to happen, it's going to allow you to expand, to enjoy, and to sit with your decision of whatever this change was much more easily than you can as you're going through it. So I have a very big movement month for Libra. Very exciting though, because ultimately you're going to have a lot more power, and I've been seeing this across many signs. For you, however, there was definitely a lot more fear and uncertainty towards the beginning to middle of the month, but it will ease. You have to push through it, you have to ride the wave, and eventually the waters will subside, and you're going to feel better, and you get a new chance to build. And that will mean that Libra, hello, you're creative. You're going to get to put that energy into something new. So embrace what wants to present itself. It's for your better health and overall betterment, as I said earlier. So I'm excited to hear and see what that means for many of you. And that's your message for this month. Let's move along now to the sign of Scorpio. So as we look at what you need to kind of embrace from the past here, your foundational card is Two of Spirals. Two of Spirals is Two of Wands in a traditional deck, and Two of Wands typically shows someone holding the globe, looking out at the horizon as well, and it's about laying down a firm foundation that you can live with. And it's also about planting the seed that something can happen. In this one, we see the eggs are not there. The seed is not existing yet. So what I want you to do is to move forward on something that you want to create in your life, whatever it is you're trying to manifest, and put forward something, whether it's putting out an email, sending out a resume, talking to someone, literally planting something in your life, or if you're trying to start a family, this can indicate that too. Whatever it is you want to create, you have to take that first step towards making it happen, and then keep it in your field of vision. For some of you that maybe haven't experimented with a vision board before, it can be as easy as using your fridge magnets and clearing everything off and starting to put things that you're trying to create in your life there, so that every morning as you're getting your orange juice, your water, your food, whatever, you're starting to see that, and it feels like, yes, that's right, that's why I'm getting up this morning, that's what I'm going to work on, and I'm going to do one thing today that brings me closer to that goal. That's what you need to continue this month, is to build the nest, to create the seed, and then just like a mother would do once you've created the egg, you want to incubate. You want to sit there and keep it warm, keep it part of you, feel it in your energy sphere. That's what's necessary this month, is creating it, seeing it in the field of vision, and keeping it warm, continuing to work towards it. Now, as we look at the central energy this month, once you've done that, we have the Magician card. It's reversed here. It says the ravens here. But with this, I want you to pay attention to signs and symbols that want to come through for you. Because with the Magician in reverse, sometimes you can be so spread in different directions, doing things for others or just multitasking in a way that maybe isn't really efficient, that you miss the bigger message. So the ravens there are your spirit guides, your internal dialogue, your mind trying to help you get out of your own way. And so I would say focus on one or two things this month. Try not to sort of like scatter yourself. And remember that the ultimate energy of the Magician is creation. Whatever you touch, it's like the Midas touch, without the negative connotations of everything turning to gold, but knowing that basically what you touch has the ability to bring something that's fruitful, beneficial, and bringing you in a place of wealth or abundance this month. And that's really what you want to do. All right, now as we look at future possibilities, some things that could either be a help or a hindrance, we have the Page of Spirals. So now we have gone from this idea of possibilities to starting to talk about it, starting to do it, starting to walk the walk. Now, the interesting thing with this, it's actually symbolized by a mime, which shows me that for some of you, there may be a need to sort of keep this under wraps. So if this is you wanting to get a new job, maybe you don't talk to people about that. You just work on it and start to manifest it so that you're not tethered or bothered by people's thoughts or energy around it. It could also mean that you need to listen this month a little bit more, and that's where some of the information, advice, and signs and symbols could come through. Overall, this is very positive. If you look in the corner, you see the butterfly, the hummingbird. For me, two of the best symbols in nature of high frequency energy. In fact, as I was doing the videos this morning, I saw a hummingbird outside, which let me know this would be a really great reading because that high frequency was here. So I want you to really keep this to yourself, but keep working on it. And this is going to be like the best kept secret by the time you finish this month, okay? So overall, really good energy. Stay focused. Keep to your plans, to your ambitions, to your visions this month. This is going to be really important for your success, and it will open up new opportunities for you. All right, let's go ahead now and move along to the sign of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, as we're looking at your past influences here, we have the Four of Swords. And this is showing a period of rest, of recuperation. If you haven't already let yourself go through that period, it's really important for you for self-care. So hopefully you allowed for some of that over the holiday season. And if not, really the message here is to allow for a little bit of a slowing down to take place at the beginning of the month. It should not persist throughout the entire month, but you might need a little bit more time to really allow for healing to take place. The other thing with the Four of Swords is I believe that clairvoyance can be very, very strong in dreams and meditation. So if you're not giving yourself enough time to meditate, pay attention to your dreams. You're likely getting very clairsentient, very important messages that are coming through in your sleep. So keep a dream journal if that's something you haven't done before. This could be a pivotal time for you to develop intuitively, and do so even when you're sleeping. But ideally, allow for some time in your day hours for meditation, because you're going to be able to see things to clear your mind in that period of time. This means also this month may just not be progressing at the speed that you want. There might be a slowdown with productivity or with getting things finished. So be patient, be kind to yourself. You can't sometimes rush the Four of Swords, so just allow for this lull to happen. And then what I see at the midpoint of the month is Judgment. Judgment, much like it's illustrated, is typically a final decision, one that you make or one that others make. When it's something in the hands of others, it also usually is followed up by an announcement, as you can see here with Gabriel's horn. So this could be a period in time where you finally hear back from someone. Whether it's good or bad, it's not important. Know that this waiting period that I see is going to end. And FYI, it does look like for many of you this is a fortuitous shift, because we see the Eight of Wands here in the future. So for those of you that might be in a company where there's a restructuring, this can be an announcement of that happening. For those of you that have been putting out a resume and looking for a new job, this can be the same thing. You get word back on that. In a relationship, this can mean the end of a relationship. It can mean a decision to move on. But it's usually a little bit more amicable than you might see with Justice reversed, for instance. This is usually someone deciding on both sides that it's time to let go, and you can be friends after that. It can be a decision to try something new. I think you're seeing the trend here. It's usually a big shift, and one that comes with a lot of thought. Judgment isn't something that you rush into, particularly when it's not reversed. This is telling me that it's been thought out, it's been methodical, it's been something happening for a while. So if you're on the receiving end of that announcement that I was mentioning, whatever it might be, it could be someone delivering to you a message of truth about themselves. They could be coming out and sharing something. Either a literal coming out or a sort of another announcement of a birth, of a engagement, whatever. But whatever they're sharing with you, they thought through quite a bit, so you want to give them the time to listen and just receive. You don't have to judge them. You just have to receive their sort of message. What I see then opening up for you as the month continues here is the Eight of Wands. Notice that these wands are definitely growing and showing fertility and fruitfulness. And so what I see for you as you're entering into the next 3 or 4 months of the year is busyness. You've gone from a period of waiting to I can hardly catch up because the card is reversed. So there's going to have to be this decision that happens in the future. Exactly what do I want to do with all of these opportunities in front of me? Or how can I make more things come through for me? Once the decision happens, then the floodgates open. So I see you working through a lull, basically, as we kind of combine all of these together and getting to a place of productivity, of better management, of better understanding. Because Judgment is also finding something out. It's sort of like an investigator card where you finally get it. It's an aha moment. When this is all done, you feel better. And I kind of like to go back to the general spread here with the Temperance card. Things start to even out. So we have both ends of the spectrum. This month is going to be that passageway between quiet and busy. So try to make the best of it. Try to listen when someone tells you something about themselves. And if you are the one that needs to deliver it with a sense of, this is me and I'm sharing it because I love you. Not asking for permission, not saying, well, what do you think about this? More saying, I'm excited to share this with you and I love you, therefore I want you to know this. And that's one of the best ways you can kind of announce something, and the person already feels kind of special then because they know that they're sitting in a place where not many people might be. Okay, so overall good energy for you. Just don't give up if in the beginning of the month it seems a little behind or you seem to be kind of bored or not being able to kind of manage things. By the end of the month, you're going to have much more opportunities at your disposal. The big thing is then deciding, what do I want to do? Let's move along now to the sign of Capricorn. So as we look at the past influences for you, the very beginning of the month is ushering in a big decision. Now, Justice in reverse is at its core about deciding that it's time to let go of something. It is a decision card. It's one that there really is no more delay on this when this happens. So an upright justice means that you're weighing options, that usually what's happening is fair, that it's time to kind of create balance in your life. The reverse of this is showing that sometimes you don't have a say in the decision being made. And even when you do, there's usually a little bit of difficulty in how you're going to give this, because this can be a card of giving notice. This can be a card of deciding to step away from a relationship that you might have been in for a while. It can also be about saying no to something in your life that feels good, sugar, or some other kind of substance that's not helping you but makes you happy. There's typically a little bit of a sacrifice involved with justice, but at its core, justice is just that. It's something that's good for you. It's even, it's balanced. So trust that your decision or the decision that is happening around you is going to help you in the long run. If someone decides to not be with you, for instance, and you're not the one making the decision, they probably thought it through before doing it, and it's actually going to open you up for people that are a better match for you. So whether it's love, whether it's food, whether it's money, whatever is kind of leaving your life right now, or you're making a decision to step away from, this is a good thing ultimately, because your center card is the Star. Notice in this particular star, there's this idea of yin and yang, of balance, of abundance, and also, like every star card, that you're able to basically go from a place where you weren't feeling yourself to being able to fully realize your true self. The star doesn't hide, it shines. It lets people in because they want to be a part of that energy. So whatever you're stepping away from, it's now going to allow you to really exist in your place of power, of being someone that people look up to, rather than you putting all your energy into something that just kind of distracted you from all of the above. Ultimately, this also means that you have bigger options in front of you. Travel, expansion, publication, distribution, and also maybe meeting someone from another part of the world. Some of you might decide to make a move from a place that you didn't like to a place that you love, or you may move somewhere and meet the love of your life too. All in all, I feel like it's a difficult and bumpy beginning that leads to a self-discovery or an ability for you to be more yourself, and then ultimately that takes you to the next step. This World card in January, you couldn't ask for something better, actually, especially combined with the Star. This is being yourself and people accepting who you are. This is using that to basically get further into your future. The other message when we look at these two cards, particularly for those of you that might be an artist, an actor, politician, I would say even for someone who is feeling very, just quote unquote normal, it's showing that it's the unique sides to your personality, to your brand, to the way you look. That's what makes you special. That's what will allow you to succeed. And if we look at kind of people in history, I'll mention a couple of tech people, and I'll try to think of some other examples, but Bill Gates and Steve Jobs come to mind. Both highly successful, both very different, both creative. I'm sure if you look back at them in high school, they didn't blend in. And I think while other people were just kind of out having fun, they were in their garage hacking at code, and look at what happened. They both created successful empires. You look at other people that are successful in business, in politics, and also in entertainment, and it's typically the ones that just don't look like everyone else or act like everyone else that are the ones that are most memorable. So I want you to be your most unique, your most unusual, and I want you to feel that that is what makes you special. And even if people don't understand you now, think of these historical figures that have made that their sort of claim to fame. It's better to stand out, okay? I want more unique people, and I think that's important for you because the Star card shows me that you have what's necessary. And again, when it comes to love and relationships, you might be meeting someone that is out of your normal circle, maybe someone from another country that really is the one that you've been looking for a while. So good luck. This month looks like it's exciting, and once you step away from that thing that might have been holding you back, or that decision that you have to make that seems hard, then everything starts to fall into place. Let's move along now to the sign of Aquarius. So Aquarius, as we start off the month, there's a lot of questions and concerns about money and sustainability. Now, the Three of Pentacles is one of my favorite cards because typically it shows that you're able to get to a new level when it comes to your your overall place in life, your position in life. If you think of a traditional card, and this card, by the way, has come up maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 times over the course of all the signs that I've been looking at. But typically there's someone that is recognizing you for who you are. So one piece of this puzzle could be that it's time for people to appreciate you a little bit more. And if you've been giving a lot of yourself and people just aren't putting forth that appreciation or reciprocating, then it's time to pull back a little bit or to ask for what you need. Because there is an overdue recognition that I would say is intrinsic to a reversed Three of Pentacles card. This is also a card about how sort of good of a handle you have on your money, your resources, your time, and feeling like it's not a burden or it's not something that you can't handle. Because this particular illustration has a mountain, which you can ascribe the feeling of sort of this weight on your shoulders or something that you have to overcome. If you could approach your finances and your resources this month, that includes time and energy, as something that you can't wait to sort of figure out how to make the best of, to sort of be resourceful and see that as a sort of challenge rather than a burden, then you're going to be able to overcome whatever obstacles are feeling like they're existing at the beginning of the month. Ultimately, the Three of Pentacles is a good card, whether it's upright or reversed. I see a delay for some of you in that recognition or achievement, but it doesn't mean that it's going to always be that way. So trust that you've done the work, trust that people will eventually be able to appreciate you for who you are, and don't be afraid to nudge a little bit, because that's part of this. You've worked hard, and I don't want you to give up on that. You've earned your state in life, your stature in life, and now it's time for it to manifest. So feel now ready to get to the next step. Don't feel burdened by the fact that it's taking longer than you expected. As I look at this particular Six of Swords, I see movement, recovery, moving on, feeling better. And it may take you until the center of the month, because that's where we see this positioning here, for you to kind of feel that sense of, I'm in a better place. But it's happening and you're there, and sometimes you feel the heaviness of what's going on. And what I'm seeing with the two of these cards is the top portion of both of them, this is reversed, but this is upright, it's very bright. And so I want you to start to embrace all of the graceful and wondrous things that are happening in your life and have more gratitude towards them and give less power to the shadow energy that might be around you. Six of Swords is typically illustrated with someone in a boat, and there's a person at the front sort of rowing that boat. And sometimes they're bringing with them ghosts from the past, sometimes the boat is empty. You have a decision this month to decide, what do I want to bring into 2019? Am I going to hold on to the things that are bothering me, or am I going to start to embrace possibilities, probabilities? And I feel like that's where your power exists. As we look at the opportunity space here for this month, the end card, we have Temperance, which shows me that you're going to be feeling a lot better by the end of the month. And it really is in alignment with what I saw for the overall energy for the month, evening out of things. So if you're feeling pulled too thinly in one direction, too much money going somewhere, too much time going somewhere, feeling like you're constantly just spent and tired, it will get better. But part of that is realizing that you have to pull back. Notice how it's almost like these are connected with a rubber band. So if someone owes you something, make sure that they're accountable for that. Or if they've committed to something, that they're accountable for that. Say no where you can, put up limits where you need to, spend according to all of your needs, and this is going to help. And then this movement away from the past patterns and whatever the ghosts are from the past brings you this sense of vibrance that we even see in the colors in this card. And if we kind of look at just the tip of this is the rainbow that is coming through here, which is this feeling of I've got it. And not only that, but there's something new in store. You might be creating something new, you might be kindling a new fire, whatever it is. Something better is on the horizon for you. So this is a month of movement and transition. It's particularly in respect to your resource management. That's time, energy, and thoughts even. How much are you thinking about certain people or things? Once you change the channel, once you move it, things are going to be in a much better place. Three of Pentacles can also indicate a finalization or finishing of a certain plan in your life. So you might be deciding to put the final touches on an agreement. You might be literally graduating or letting go of something. But this eventual movement is going to open up new things, new possibilities, better things in the months and I would say years ahead as well. So embrace this new way of being. It's going to be much, much better for you in the long run. One last thing that I'd like to hit upon before we move to the next sign is that Six of Swords card is a harbinger for better things to come. It's a very gentle version of like a Tower or Death card. It's one where you have a decision that you can make, one where you can decide to let go of something, move on, but it can indicate, and I want to make sure I said this and that it came through, it can indicate a move that is coming, a transition in your life to something better, and it usually indicates recovery. It's letting go of something that didn't feel good, moving towards something that does. That's why there was a rainbow on top. So if you've been dealing with aches and pains, or you've gone through a difficult point in your life and you're trying to get better, this is showing that you're going to either feel or be better over the course of this month. So keep at it, don't give up. All right, let's now go ahead and move on to the sign of Pisces. As we look at the past influences this month, we have the Seven of Swords, which is really reminding you that it's important to take away from any sort of disappointment, upset, or decision in your life exactly what you need, but not sort of to live in the moment of the past. It's important to move forward, and more importantly, this is a card that comes up when it's time to kind of evaluate trust and situations in your life with respect to, are people trustworthy? Are they someone who you believe have your best interests at heart? If not, if your intuition sort of puts a question mark up, then this is a time to step away from that. This is all about cutting losses also. So if you've been investing either your time, your energy, or your money into something, and it just doesn't feel like it's worth your time, then it might be time to reevaluate or to start to invest your time, energy, and money into something that's better. So just really look at the full picture and decide how long you want to continue on a certain path. This, to me, rings much more true of relationships and even job situations. But this is a card that shows that it's important to move forward, it's important to move on, and you may not always be able to get everything that you want, but if you can step away feeling that you avoided some unnecessary drama in the end, then you're actually ahead of the game. Remember when I was looking at love overall this month that we had the Hierophant, and it was in this sort of sideways position, showing that you may be able to access different ways of communicating with someone, break through things, and that's a good thing for you this month. As we look at the middle of the month and what opportunities are coming through, it's help and also, I would say, friendships coming through in unexpected times. The Four of Cups is when sometimes you're presented with an opportunity and you're not always looking for it, but if you remain open, it could be really good. This is usually in the form of a helping hand, in the form of someone who is there to support you, but you may not expect it. It can also be a missed opportunity on your part because you could be focusing on the past. This is sort of a card that shows the grass is always greener on the other side. When in fact, you have no idea what that other person might be going through, and your own situation may be one where you're actually blessed and supported more than you believe. So this card is saying, take a look at where you're at. What can you enjoy? What can you celebrate? Because hidden in the Four of Cups is the Three of Cups, people around you, coming and going, that love you and want to be with you. So if you can start to see that your dream, your hope, your desire is closer than you want, and also you already have a lot to be grateful for, then the energy and the mood and the sort of overall frequency of the month is going to increase. Then we have the Empress card, and that's a much better way to end the month. In the upright position, this is a card of empowerment, of being able to sway people. It's a great sort of persuasive card, even a manipulative card, depending on how it's positioned. But with this card reversed, it's showing that you need to take care of yourself. It's a self-care, it's a nurturing card, reaching out for people in your life that can feel maternal, that can help you out, and really working on healing and developing what's important to you. If I combine both the Empress and the Seven of Swords together, I get a message of stepping away from people that could be trying to push you, manipulate you, or make you kind of step away from your comfort zone. Ultimately, and I want to focus on this, the month is ending with the Empress. So you have more power than you may imagine. It's a card of being able to take something and bring it into existence, because this is the universal divine feminine mother card that we have in tarot. So power, fertility, possibility, this is what's at your disposal this month. But first, You have to step away from past influences that could be pulling you back. You have to sort of embrace all of the positivity around you and maybe let go of being so rigidly attached to one way of doing something, because again, we saw the Hierophant being turned on its side. So this month you're going to have to think of different ways of getting things done, and that's when you find your power. So that brings this monthly extended forecast, both with energy and sign by sign forecast, to an end. I hope you enjoyed the new format. I do ask you to be patient as I continue to evolve it. I know change can be difficult, but this is a necessary change so that I can do more videos and also expand on the different offerings that I have here as far as my own videos and services go. So thank you for your support in advance. If you would like to schedule a one-on-one with me, if you miss the sort of depth that I would give to each sign, then you can schedule an appointment with me. I'm having a special this month for a year at a glance, so feel free to check that out on my website. I'll put some information below the video and also right here along the bottom. And also, if you would like to donate to the channel, I really would appreciate it. It helps with these longer form videos. You can join me on Patreon, or through my website, you can do a one-time donation. Otherwise, please join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as here on YouTube, and I have a newsletter, so I would love for you to join as many as you would like. I would like to end with a special note of gratitude towards all of you. This has been a fantastic journey, and I can't wait to see what 2019 has in store. Like I said, I hope to continue to evolve and allow new things to come through. So thank you for being part of my journey and allowing me to be part of yours. Keep working on your heart, on your mind, body, and spirit. Keep shining brightly. We need more lights in the world right now. And I am so happy to see all of the development that you've been able to do. Again, Happy New Year. Wishing you much love and light. I'll talk to you soon.